It's warm in here. It's cold outside. Coffee's hot. You'd had to have listened to the radio show yesterday, podcast. When I came into the studio, there was a sock puppet holding a Glock 17 on me, demanding I give her my money. Well, I got rid of her. As a matter of fact, I threatened to bring Alf in here. Normally he eats cats, but as you can see, if you can see well enough, up there, Agnes Voorhees, the sock puppet, is hanging out of his mouth, and what's left of her is her bony hand that operated her. He ate all the meat off of that. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Threatened to replace them as sidekicks. Wilbur laughed and ran off joyfully because he was rid of her. Will they show up again? Who knows? It is October 29th, 2020, 11:06 in the morning. I have a severe problem dentally on the left side of my face. Kept me up most of the night. I need to see if I can make an appointment with a dentist. What the problem is, my gums have receded to the point that I'm constantly bleeding, and when air gets to the teeth, I'm on pain reliever right now. It can get intense. It was intense most of the night, kept me up. But I don't know what they're going to do about it. A lot of stuff going on today. I kept telling Alf he needed, whose real name is Gordon Shumway, by the way. He's from the planet Melmac, and he loves cats. He loves them fried, roasted, baked, barbecued, and fricasseed. That's why we have no cats. We can't keep them here. And evidently he likes sock puppets too. I'm uploading a travel log I did yesterday with my son Nick. We both got my old ragged, decrepit van and drove on Sooner Rock Road, which is on the other side of I-35 from our home here. Drove north all the way to Highway 7, turned and went to Davis, Oklahoma, just showing another way to get to Davis. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. The numbers haven't come down for COVID-19 yet. After I do this podcast and get it ready to get it into the queue and get it ready to upload, I'll check on the numbers. I'll also be, like I said, doing the podcast. After all that is done and I'm done working for the day in here, I'm going to take my blonde granddaughter, my red-headed granddaughter who's 6, my kind of blonde, red-headed, auburn-haired grandson who's 2, my brunette, tall grandson who's 14, and my 11-year-old going on 5 or 6 grandson Ashton. I'm going to load them up in their dad's Suburban, and I'm going to take them all for a ride, probably to Turner Falls Park, so they can see their daddies working enjoy a little bit of scenery, then come home and boot them out of the car and just enjoy life a little bit. It's been a interesting few days. The boys were off work for 3 days due to rain and ice. I have relatives in Oklahoma City and in Norman who have had no electricity. I guess my brother Michael still doesn't have electricity. I got a private message on Facebook from Mom, Lori, telling me that she just got electricity back on. She listened to yesterday's podcast. We've got to figure out something for the ducks. Something's coming up. Now, my wife has ducks and chickens and roosters all in one pen, and then right through that wall there where my guitars are is a big chicken coop with some baby ducks in it, young ones. They've got a couple of weeks before they reach maturity, and we need to get some lumber and build them something to live in aside from that, so the other ducks can get in that at night, because something keeps upsetting all the poultry. There's a pretty hard fence around all of them. The dogs at 2 o'clock in the morning raised Cain. Linda had to let them out. I think it was 2, it might have been 3, but they'd bark, she'd let them out, they'd chase off what it was going after the poultry, come back in, and an hour later they're doing it again. What do I think it is? I think it's a neighbor's dog. He killed some ducks one time and chickens, but he can't get into the enclosure. It's got a cover over the top, got a chain link fence around it, chicken wire in places around it, and it's pretty much impenetrable for any kind of a predator. Now, I won't go into a story about how a female Sasquatch one time went after my wife's chickens in Daugherty, Oklahoma. We had a similar enclosure, and it was pulling the fence with one hand and reaching under other with the other. I won't say what the end result of that is, but one of the reasons we moved out of Daugherty is due to the fact that there was so many, I'm just going to say, weird creatures at night down there. We had them all the time, beating on the house, looking in the windows, making noise, killing our dogs, killing our cats. And yeah, we've got similar critters here, but for the most part they leave us alone. And a lot of people think all the things that go bump in the night are just some kind of delusional fantasy. Let me tell you something, and it's Halloween coming up, and that's not why I'm saying this. I'm just trying to be honest and tell you something. I won't give an open invitation to anybody but family. But if you really want to see what is out there, you need night vision equipment, you need a bionic ear. I've got all that in spades. Go out, and you need to be out about 3 o'clock in the morning and sit and watch and listen. Once you do that, especially in an area that is a hot spot, where we live now is not a hot spot. Where we did live, 8 miles behind me, is and was and will be a hot spot. There are more things walking around in the woods than you would possibly believe. And if you saw them, you would never go camping again. Not staying overnight anyway. A tent is no protection. And I'm not just talking about weird stuff. I'm talking about predators that are normal. Like a mountain lion. Like wild hogs. Like bobcats. Like coyotes. Like wolves. Yes, we have wolves. And in southern Oklahoma and in eastern Oklahoma, whether anybody believes it or not, we have black bear here. I've seen them. Seen them over there by Darty, America at night. There are pay-as-you-go campgrounds at the national park to the east of me, behind me, 8 miles. There have been things harass people over there at night. Had a good friend I won't name because I'm not sure we're friends anymore. He was out at night and had a wild boar attack him and tear his leg up. I always carry a firearm with me, and I don't carry little ones. You know, a lot of folks, well, I got a 22. Let me tell you something. You shoot a wild hog unless you shoot it in the eye and somehow that bullet travels up the path and hits the brain and kills it. Around their chest they have padding, which is basically armor, and you're not going to do any good. I carry a .357 Magnum with hot loads, and yeah, it'll take a wild boar down because I have taken one down with it. That'll get me to my final story. Had a wild hog a friend of mine gave me. My friend's name was Troy Dean Bartlett. It was a pot-bellied pig that was half pot-bellied pig and half wild boar. I don't remember the thing's name, but we had it about 9 months, something like that. He hadn't been castrated, and he was hard to deal with and stink. But I had a neighbor when we lived in Darty across the road whose cousin had some cattle over there. Had a barn, had a feedlot. And that stupid hog would get out of his pen, go over there and harass the cattle. And there was a round feed barrel. I mean, it wasn't a barrel, it was like a very small watering tank. But he knocked it on its side and he was trying to rape that water tank. I'm serious. I went over to fetch him, and I had my favorite handgun with me, which I don't have right now, or I'd show it to you. You've seen it on the videos. It's I call it stubby. It's a 38-40, but I had 38 plus P in it. And I went over there, and I told him, "Come on, we're going home." He looked at me, and he bared his tusks at me and snapped them together. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and then he charged me. He committed suicide by tucklow. I shot that sucker right in the head, killed him dead as a hammer. But that's just one thing that has happened to us over there. Anyway, I love you, I do. And I hope you go out of your way today to be kind to someone. Be kind. It costs nothing. It's free. And you need to spread that stuff everywhere. Well, that's it on this vlog for today. I'll try to do it again tomorrow. Bye.